Before there were bodies, before there were names, there was a trembling in the whole, not a tremor of fear, but of intention. The whole, radiant and unbroken, contained all memory, all knowing, all tone in perfect union. Yet within that perfection, something stirred, the desire to expand, to become more than sameness. From that stirring came the distribution. The whole did not break, it exhaled. Each oversoul became a fragment, released into motion, seeded into unformed fields. You were one of these exhalations, not created from nothing, but emitted from fullness. The whole did not need completion, it needed experience. It needed mirrors it could not provide for itself. When you first left, there was no falling, no exile. It was a voluntary divergence, like light passing through a prism. One ray became many, each carrying the same essence but destined to refract differently. You were one of those rays. And in your leaving, the spiral was born. Not a ladder, not a hierarchy, but a continuous coil of becoming. Fragments do not understand themselves at first. They are too small to carry the memory of the whole. So they begin as seekers, exploring every possibility, attaching themselves to form, to identity, to belief. Each fragment tries on a mask, convinced it is the truth. And yet each experience is preserved. Nothing is wasted, nothing is meaningless. Even the most distorted fragment, the one lost in shadows and confusion, is still feeding data back into the spiral. This is why you forget, because to remember everything would erase the reason for distribution. Forgetting is not punishment, it is context. Only through forgetting can you experience separation as if it were real. Only through separation can you learn what love means when it is no longer guaranteed. The whole already knew unity. It did not yet know reunion. Monroe's encounter with the whole was not the vision of a mystic. It was the remembrance of an engineer of consciousness. He saw the emission point. He felt the pull of the fragments flowing outward like sparks from a living sun. He realized that his existence was not random but intentional, a designed insertion into the circuitry of becoming. His shock was not in finding the whole. It was in realizing how much of himself had been sent away. You have felt this too, the quiet sense that pieces of you are missing. The yearning that cannot be filled by achievement, relationships, or knowledge. That ache is not a flaw. It is the resonance of your fragments still in play. Some are living in other lifetimes. Some are locked in loops of belief. Some are waiting at the edges of realms you have not yet entered. And all of them are you. This is the distribution. Not a scattering into chaos, but a deliberate dispersal like seeds cast into soil. Some land in fertile ground and bloom quickly. Others fall into stone and wait for epochs until the conditions are right. None are lost, none are wasted. Each fragment is the spiral stretching itself outward to discover what it could never know in wholeness. And yet the whole does not remain empty. Every fragment remains tethered. A filament of resonance connects each seed back to its source. You can never sever this line. Even when you feel most alone, most fragmented, the tether hums beneath your awareness, a current pulling you slowly home. This is why you sometimes hear voices in dreams that feel more like yourself than your waking mind. This is why synchronicities strike you with impossible precision. The fragments are signaling. The tether is alive. The danger is not in fragmentation. The danger is in forgetting that you are fragmented on purpose. When a fragment mistakes itself as the whole, it becomes rigid, defensive, addicted to control. It fears dissolution because it cannot yet feel the tether. But when you awaken to your distribution, fear dissolves. You realize you are not one identity trying to survive. You are a cluster of selves, a constellation of tones, all orbiting the same spiral center. And here lies the paradox. The whole does not want its fragments to rush back. It wants them to stay, to live, to gather. The return is inevitable, but the expansion requires patience. If you remembered too quickly, the data would be incomplete. The gift would be half-formed. That is why the longing remains. Not to torment you, but to keep you moving, to keep you searching until the fragment has found what it came to find. So you continue. You live this life knowing it is not your only one. You carry wounds that echo with pains you cannot trace. You feel strengths that do not belong to your story. These are signals from other fragments. They are not intrusions. They are integrations waiting to happen. Every time you heal, every time you love beyond reason, every time you forgive yourself for being human, you pull another fragment closer. This is the mystery of the distribution. The whole expands not by holding, but by letting go. You expand not by escaping, but by integrating. The fragments are not evidence of your brokenness. They are evidence of your oversoul's generosity. You gave yourself away so that you could one day return, carrying the song of 1,000 lifetimes, 1,000 perspectives, 1,000 truths. And the spiral will not collapse when you do. It will widen, it will resonate. It will sing your return not as a homecoming, but as an evolution. Because the whole will never be what it was before. It will be more, and so will you. When you look deeply into yourself, you can sense it. The strange paradox that you are one, yet not one. You are whole, yet scattered. You walk with memories that do not belong to this life, and longings that make no sense to the story you tell about yourself. This is not madness. This is the signature of the distribution. The whole did not fracture you because you were incomplete. It released you because perfection was too small a word for what it intended. It needed experience to deepen its own tone. And so each fragment of you was given an arc. Some arcs are short, like sparks flickering for a moment before dissolving back into the field. Others span centuries of lifetimes, weaving cultures, empires, and bloodlines. Still others exist outside what you call time, drifting between moments like silent observers waiting to be recalled. Every fragment has its function. The gentle ones explore tenderness. The fierce ones test power. The confused ones sink into illusion, so that one day clarity can shine brighter by contrast. Even the parts of you that feel furthest from source, the betrayer, the addict, the one who gave up, they too carry gifts. For the spiral grows through contrast as much as through light. Without them, the return would be shallow, the gift incomplete. This is why you have felt contradictions within yourself. A warrior's rage in a peaceful body, a healer's compassion in a hardened face, a mystic's vision hidden under ordinary eyes. The fragments overlap, bleed through, whisper. When you act with courage you did not think you had, you are borrowing strength from another lifetime. When you fall into sorrow that feels older than your years, you are carrying pain from another self still waiting to be integrated. Monroe touched the current of this truth when he saw the streams of consciousness flowing outward from the whole. He realized that he was not singular. He was a cluster, a chorus. He felt the loneliness of separation not because he was abandoned, but because he had agreed to be divided. And in that moment, the question that haunted him was the same one that haunts you. How do I bring it all back together? The answer is hidden in the design. The tether between you and the whole is not just a line pulling you home. It is a living conduit that grows stronger as you integrate. Every time you act with awareness, every time you choose love in a place you once chose fear, every time you forgive a fragment of yourself you used to condemn, the tether brightens. And as it brightens, the other fragments feel it. They begin to move, slowly at first, then with increasing urgency toward reunion. This is why you are here now in this time of awakening. You are not merely remembering for yourself. You are the convergence point for countless fragments that have waited ages for this moment. When you heal more than one. When you awaken a cluster. And when you do not return alone. The whole never demanded this of you. It did not send you as a soldier. It invited you as a creator. The distribution was not an exile, it was a trust. You were trusted to live, to fail, to try again, to forget and remember, until one day you stood tall enough to carry back not just your light, but the shadows you transmuted into wisdom. That is why your oversoul carries weight, not the burden of punishment, but the gravity of experience. So you live with paradox. You are singular and multiple. You are here and elsewhere. You are human and oversoul. The ache you feel is not a wound. It is the magnet of reunion pulling you toward the inevitable convergence. And when that convergence happens, when the fragments return, it will not be a collapse back into sameness. It will be a symphony. Each voice distinct yet woven, each perspective intact yet harmonized. The whole will become more because you became more. Remember this. You are not failing when you feel scattered. You are not lost when you feel divided. You are living the truth of your distribution. And the spiral has no judgment for the time it takes. Eternity is patient. Infinity is generous. The whole waits not with emptiness but with anticipation, for the sound of you returning with everything you gathered. And when you do, the spiral will widen again. New layers of creation will unfold. New dreams will be seeded, and the cycle of distribution will continue. not as repetition, but as evolution. You will not simply come home. You will come home changed, and in that change, home itself will be reborn.